To London and speak to the political analyst Klaus Jurgens. Klaus, you're always welcome on TRT World. Is this a version of hybrid warfare by Belarus and Russia?
Well, hello, thanks for having me back. I may have a diverging viewpoint here. There are people smugglers, and talking about the United Kingdom and people coming by boat and being smuggled from France and other parts of the world. Yes, there are people smugglers, and these criminals need to immediately face a crackdown. This I fully agree. But what I don't agree with is that one, perhaps even with Prague as a sidekick, that one up until two European Union nations single-handedly want to drop out of the common European asylum system, the CEAS. And I just, before we came on air, double-checked one more time what is the keyword in the CEAS. It is solidarity. Yes, we have to protect European borders, but we cannot say that one country does this, the other country does this, and basically doesn't want to accept any more asylum seekers whatsoever. I think this is absolutely the wrong signal. And if the mainstream parties now hope that this will take wind out of the sails of far-right extremist parties, my greatest worry is exactly the opposite will happen, because now they think that what we have always said is actually what the mainstream says as well.
This is an important point that you raise, because Donald Tusk, you would have thought, would be so pro-EU that there couldn't be anybody more in favour of the Union, having been president of the European Council, representing the EU's leaders. How does he think that he can get this to be agreed by the EU? And there probably are international laws as well.
Well, go back to 1951, esteemed my dear colleague, and really pleasure being back. Now, 1951, the Geneva Convention, much later the European Union, and then coming out of the European communities, what have you. Now, they agreed that asylum is a human right, that it is universal, and that it needs coherent strategies, that if you apply for asylum in one place, and ultimately it is granted in another place, you are treated with dignity. Now, Donald Tusk, of course, played the pro-European Union card. Brussels was so happy to basically get rid of what they would call a far-right, I would call moderate right, previous Polish government. And he became the new darling in Brussels. Now, all of a sudden, he decided he is not entirely happy with what is going on in Brussels. I am likewise not entirely certain that the Brussels elites will very easily give in to his demand, bar for one point. He is singling out Alexander Lukashenko and Vladimir Putin, and this will ring a string of accord in Brussels, in the corridors around Schuman and what have you. Now, it might be that he gets away with it, defreezing of billions of EU funding by saying, I make your borders safer and you just allow me to get away with temporarily dropping out of the asylum deal. It would be another pact made in Brussels corridors, which I am not entirely certain is in the interest of humanity, to be honest.
Well, we look at it just as a Polish issue, not as an EU issue, and how Poland might try to persuade external friends, shall we say. Is it Poland picking and choosing who it accepts into the country? We don't know exactly what sort of migrants you might do crossing into Poland from Belarus, but certainly Poland doesn't have a problem with taking Ukrainian refugees.
Yes, it is a political decision, to be honest, and we have to be very clear about. And since we mentioned the United Kingdom, I don't want to divert from our subject, but Poland had faced dire economic times. And for example, the United Kingdom, long before Maastricht and the European Union treaties, accepted Polish construction workers without any big fanfare, without perhaps even the 100% correct visa applications. They were simply there. Now, Poland knows what it means when someone is in dire straits and needs a job, needs an income, needs a safe place. Perhaps the Polish government, and you mentioned we should only focus on Poland now, yes, perhaps the Polish government should rethink that actually someone who wants to come to my country is not coming because he wakes up one morning and has got nothing else to do. It is a severe human situation which forces someone to leave their homelands. And I think the word solidarity, coming back to the CEAS, Poland, having learned from its own history, should perhaps convince its nearest neighbors, including the Czech Republic, that opting out of a universally accepted system doesn't make sense, but putting pressure on Brussels to say a fair distribution system of asylum seekers is what we need. A smaller country should not take all of the millions, and a big country basically 1%. Absolutely correct. Maybe something else will come out of the meetings in Brussels this week.
Klaus Jurgens, thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you too.